Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. This Shabbos is Parshas Shemini, which describes in the first half of the Parsha the inauguration of the Mishkan, and they offered korbanos for the 8 days. At the end, after they finished offering all their korbanos, the pasuk reads as follows. This is in Perek Tes, pasuk Chav Gimel. Vayavoy Moshe va'Aaron el Oil HaMoed. Moshe and Aaron come into Oil HaMoed. Vayivarchu asam vayarek for Hashem el kol ha'am. So they go into Oil HaMoed. They go into Oil HaMoed. Then they come out. They bench. They bless Klal Yisrael. Vayera kvoid Hashem el kol ha'am. And then the covenant of Hashem is shown to the nation. The question that Rashi himself asks is, what is the nature of this going in? It says Vayavoy Moshe v'Aaron el Oil HaMoed, but it doesn't say what they did. It just says they went in and then they went out and blessed the nation. Rashi offers a number of mahalachim. The last mahalach that Rashi says is as follows. What was the nature of their entering into the Mishkan? Davar acher. Came Shira Aaron shekarvu kol korbanos, v'nas kol ha'maisim. Aaron saw that he offered up all the korbanos and all the actions were done. V'lo yard the Shechina Yisrael, but still the Shechina did not come down to Klal Yisrael. V'yam star. So he was bothered by that. He was pained. V'omer, he said, Yodei ani shekas HaKadosh Baruch Hu alai. I know that Hashem is upset with me. Why would Hashem be upset with Aaron? And because of me, the Shechina did not come down to Yisrael. Aaron had feelings that it was his fault, his part in the Egel HaZahav, in the golden calf, the role that he played. He felt that was the reason why the Shechina is not coming down to Klal Yisrael. Amaloi Moshe, Moshe Achi, Moshe my brother, Kach Asisali. This is what you do to me, what you did to me. I come in to do the avodah for the past 8 days, to set up the Mishkan, and now you embarrass me. Moshe comes into the Mishkan with Aaron, Bikshu Rachamin, and they both davened, or Moshe Rabbeinu davened for Rachamin, the Yarda Shechina Yisrael. The Shechina came down to Klal Yisrael. It's an amazing idea that Aaron HaKohen thought that it was his fault that the Shechina didn't come down. The Mishkan, we discussed in the past, with Parshas Pekudei, with the Beis HaLevi, the Mishkan was somewhat of a kapara, of an atonement for the Egel HaZav. And Aaron HaKohen saw a direct connection here between his role in the Egel and the lack of the Shechina coming down. Frekt Rabbi Yerucham Levavis, the Mashgiach from the Mir. Rabbi Yerucham asks, I don't understand. Klal Yisrael, mamish did avodah zarah. They initiated the entire Egel HaZav. Everything that Aaron HaKohen did in the Egel HaZav was l'shem shamayim. He was doing it to try to save Klal Yisrael. There's two options here. Either the Shechina didn't come down because of the Yidden who mamish did avodah zarah, or it didn't come down because of Aaron HaKohen's dakas chelik in the Egel HaZav, his small portion in the Egel HaZav. What reason is more logical to think is the real reason why the Shechina didn't come down? Obviously, it's Klal Yisrael. But that's how Aaron HaKohen was. That's how an Erlich it is, says Rabbi Yerucham. They're always toile the chisarn in them. They always assume if something goes wrong, it's my fault. I don't push the blame onto someone else. It's my fault. Aaron HaKohen saw it was his achrayus. It was his achrayus to make sure that the Shechina comes down, and it didn't come down. Rabbi Yerucham brings from the beginning of the second parak in Maseches Tainis, where it says when there's a shas hatchak, when there's no water, let's say, there's a drought. So they have a set of fasts. And if that doesn't work, they bring the teva, the Aron Kodesh, they bring that out into the Rechoiva Shel Ir. So the Yin should be embarrassed from their Averas. Making a whole tekes, we're making a whole thing, a whole to-do, to make a public display of the fact that it's our Averas that are causing this drought, whatever the tzara is. It says Rabbi Yerucham, if every Yid is going to think it's his fault, it's Yankel's fault, it's Beryl's fault, it's not my fault, then bringing the teva to the Rechoiva Shel Ir is not going to do anything. It must be when they brought the teva to the Rechoiva Shel Ir, and every pasuk Yid saw, look what's happening. We're in an Eis Tzara. Everyone was toile in themselves. Everyone saw themselves as being the reason why the calamity is happening. The Baal Shem Tov used to say, any avera you see in someone else, you have a chelik in that avera. Any avera someone else does that gets you upset, you have a chelik in that avera. So it's a humbling thought. In other words, instead of pointing a finger at someone else, we see here the obligation, as we mentioned many times, is to point the finger inward at oneself to see how can I improve myself. The Mesilas Yesharim writes in the Perek on Anivus, He discusses that a person is talented in something. He's a chacham, he's very wise. No reason to be arrogant about that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you that. There's a bird arrogant that it can fly. There's an ox arrogant that it could plow a field. These are all our talents is given from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not only that, a person has a talent that comes with responsibility. A person has a responsibility to make sure that his talents are harnessed for the tzibur, to make sure he shares his talents with others. So talent equals responsibility. It was these two ideas that made Aaron HaKohen think that it's his fault. Number one, something goes wrong. It's my fault. It's not his fault. Elchid says it's my fault. Number two, he realized that his koiches are responsibilities, and maybe he was not sharing his talents with others. We should be zoichet to incorporate these two ideas to realize when something happens, don't just assume it's someone else's fault. Always turn the finger, and Erel Chayid always turns the finger inward and assumes it's his fault and sees how he or she can correct themselves. And number two, all the talents that we have, and we have many talents, Baruch Hashem, we have to recognize it's a responsibility. Individual talents, as a community, the shtibel has many talents. It's a responsibility to share those talents with others and thereby elevating everyone to becoming closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbos.